All right, so let me begin, if I may. This is, in fact, one of the concepts that's being inspired by our professor at INSEAD when we studied the Executive Masters in Change, Professor Cree, who taught us about emotional capital. And I'm going to address it from an individual perspective. Basically, the concept is this: emotional capital. We believe that when it's collective emotion, it motivates an organization to have collective action. So some even say that it's more important to have emotional capitals that's collective than to have stability of an individual's emotions. So what we believe is that for an organization with leaders, with managers, and with senior executives who have good emotional capital, it would drive us for innovation. It would drive us for precision in execution. And I believe this is extremely important because imagine in an organization, one department is walking forward, one department is walking backward. It will not work. So there has to be something that's quite collective. And I'd like to share three main points on this emotional capital from a leader perspective. The first I feel is very relevant to our days is what we call thoughtful passion. It's not just passion, like blind passion, I really love something, I want to do it, but it's thoughtful passion, meaning as a leader in the disruptive age, as a leader in the times of change, you have to be able to not only hold your passion and to center yourself, but also to have a very clear mind in thinking about what that passion should lead you to. Basically, it's both a driving by your heart and also driving by your head. So you have so many different options that you can develop your business in, as you will also hear from our research later on. But what is it that you would like to pursue? I think that's very important as a leader. You not only have passion for the long term, but you have a clear head as to which area you should be driving your organization to. And the second point, which I felt was very relevant to these days, is what we call aspirational discontent. When hearing the word discontent, you would think that is a negative word, but in fact, it is not. Because discontent with aspiration would mean that this type of leader, type of senior managers, they're constantly on the look for area that have not been fully, the muscles have not been fully flexed. So they would be looking at area where they can improve, underperforming area or underdeveloping area. You would typically hear a leader with aspirational discontent talk about things like what is next, or how can we better ourselves, or what is the industry benchmark? Could we lift our benchmark? Could we lift our standards? So aspirational discontent is an other individual leadership emotional capital, which I find highly relevant. And the last one that I would like to address briefly is the notion of authenticity. Remember in last episode when I shared about the communications in times of change, and when we had a very popular speaker who had spoken to us on the notion of care, on the notion of authenticity. We had from Pan Pacific Hotel Group, and we had Mr. Cho, who had shared on authenticity as well. I feel that authenticity is the ground, the basis of a change leadership, meaning you're honest, you're open, you're also very comfortable having failure conversations, because it's inevitable during times of innovation and change that you will come across failure, or you would come across experiments that do not go according to plan. So if you are able to be authentic in your expression and in how you address your team, if you're able to be aspirational content, and if you're able to remain passionate with thoughtful passion, I think that would kind of sum up one of the ideal leaders that we would like to have.
So, in such a situation, the CEO actually didn't realize that there were underlying dynamics linked to emotional capability that prevented him from having an energized and powered team that moved the innovation process forward in an aligned manner to capture opportunities that were missing. What actually was happening was that the senior leaders and directors, and some of them were old guards, were actually going through the motion of creating activity to show they were making change to the boss, but they did not feel they are the ones or their part or their department had to actually change significantly to deliver that outcome. At the same time, many of them didn't actually trust their cross-functional peers, so they withheld useful information or they did not share it wholeheartedly in a timely manner, which all of us know when we want to capture business opportunities through innovation. Timely information is critical. Now, what happened to the middle managers like marketing, sales managers, or the research managers? They actually were not speaking openly in the meetings. They spoke only outside the meetings about their opinions. Now, we noted that could be cultural, but we discussed the likelihood that there was collective emotion of fear of personal harm when expressing honest opinions and feelings. Because at some point, some of them were embarrassed or sanctions. Sometimes sanction could be just a cold stare that the boss gives you when you try to speak with an honest view. So after a while, they actually present information that's good news or something that projects a positive image, even incomplete news would take place, right? So therefore, misalignment took place, a lack of ability to identify, see, or create the opportunities to build that energized and focused team. So once the CEOs and his team then realized that they were more aware that such dynamics called emotional capability and capital could exist on the unconscious surface, so that a safe and more honest environment for opinions could be built and hence right behaviors could happen. You start to see a whole ton of events, and obviously this is not overnight. It takes a long while, and more sharing takes place in a timely manner, accurate manner. Behaviors change, and the outcome was their creativity, their innovative ideas came out.